You're listening to the Smash Bros. Cast, episode 62. I'm your host, N64 Josh. My co-host and sparring partner is Nightcrawler. What's up, dude?
Hey, how's it going?
It is going well. We have a very special guest. Myran took 9th at Genesis. Dude is a crazy Olimar. What is going on? How are you?
I'm doing pretty well. I actually just got back from the tournament I won yesterday.
There you go.
I'm keeping up the grind. Always trying to get better as a player and get out there. But how are you guys doing?
Oh, doing good, man. Doing good. So, before we get started, guys, if you want to get yourself a free book from Audible, go to audibletrial.com/SBC. Pick up something awesome like Blood, Sweat, and Pixels or Ready Player One. The chair I'm sitting in from OPC. Go to n64josh.com/OPC. You automatically save $10 at checkout. All the chairs are $20 off right now and free shipping. It's about an $80 savings. So, I highly recommend these chairs. I wouldn't recommend them if I didn't really love them. So that's n64josh.com/OPC. With that, we'll jump over to our announcements. All right, well, we have a new call-in show happening Mondays. We don't have the exact time because it kind of just depends on when Crawler can get away. So, but I stream from 3 p.m. until 10 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on Mondays. We do viewer battles and we'll do that call-in show. So if you want to get involved on one of these shows, maybe you have some questions about some gameplay or things that you want to improve on, or maybe you just have some tips or advice that you'd like to share with the community, make sure to join us live on Twitch, and then make sure you're in the Discord, which is n64josh.com/Discord. And we do all the calls through Discord, so it's a good time. Remember, coming up the second Saturday in March, we have our the Smash Bros. Cast tournament. First prize is a $20 eShop card, second prize $10, and third prize is $5. And we are doing that through Smash.gg. I will have the tournament up very soon, so people can begin signing up. But it is a really good time. We had almost 60 players last time, so it was a lot of fun. And with that, I think we're gonna just jump right into our interview here with Myran. All right, Myran, let's talk a little bit about your history with Smash. Like, when did you start playing?
All right, I started playing competitively back in 2013 in April was my first tournament. I played casually growing up all my life, like Smash 64, Melee, and even Brawl, just like with my friends and stuff. But I remember I stumbled onto Smash Boards one time, like earlier in 2013. I was like, oh, there's a tournament 5 hours away from me. That sounds fun. So I got together with my best bud and we drove up there and we got trashed.
I think that's the story of everybody at their first tournament, right?
How far did you say you had to drive?
5 hours.
Wow. Wow. So, like, let's talk about that experience a little bit. Like, were you going in thinking you were pretty good?
Yeah, actually, I went in thinking I was, the bee's knees, and, we went there. I was pretty good, casually and all that, and I went there, and I went 1-2 that tournament, so I didn't go 0-2. Thankfully, I've never gone 0-2 in any tournament. My friend went 0-2, and then they had, like, an amateur bracket after that tournament where, if you lost early on enough, they'd let you in it, and he actually won the amateur bracket, and I got 3rd in it.
Oh, wow, that's cool.
So it was a fun time. That was actually probably a very interesting tournament. We drove up there in his van or whatever that he had at the time, and we didn't know anybody. It was all our first time, and his van broke down that night in the parking lot. So we're in Gainesville, 5 hours away from where we're at, and we can't get any help. We don't know anyone, so we just slept in the van that night. and then we woke up and we're like, all right, and there was a auto parts store like in that plaza, so we went there and they checked out the battery and all that stuff. And then we were driving home, and then about an hour out of our house, or our area, the belt broke on his van. So we pulled over again. And then at that point, his dad was like, all right, I'm going to come help you or whatever. And then, we get back finally home, and I was like, that was really fun. Let's do it
again. Makes for a good story, I guess, right?
Yeah, it does. So, now I'm doing it all the time.
Gotcha. So who was your main back then?
Olimar still.
Oh, you've stuck with him.
Yeah, no, I picked up Olimar a few months. It was during Brawl, a few months early in 2013, around January, before I got me competitive, because I was losing my friends casually. You know, I played Toon Link before that. I was like, oh, yeah, it's pretty fun, but they kept like trashing me, and I was like, all right, I don't want to lose anymore. And then I saw a video of a Japanese Olimar player in a tournament in Miyatono, and he was doing amazing. I was like, that's really cool. I can do that. So then I picked up Olimar, and ever since I've been stuck with it.
Are you a Pikmin fan then?
No, actually. I've only played Pikmin 1, and I played it on my stream at the end of 2017 as like a sub goal, and I'm totally impartial to it. I don't care for the series. I just love how he plays in Smash, and my attachment to Olimar is solely like rooted in Smash Brothers, and I have no desire for anything.
I think a lot of people. I mean, I picked up my first Fire Emblem game just a month ago, and I play Corrin and Roy, so I don't have any kind of attachment to Fire Emblem as well.
I've never played Mario Bros. I mean,
no.
I've never played a Mario game. It's crazy. Just
the
Mario
hat would lead me to think otherwise.
No, I'm totally kidding, but that's really cool, man. That's really cool. Let's talk about the journey that you've been on to where, I mean, you took ninth at Genesis 6 in Ultimate just a couple weeks ago. That's no small feat. There was like 2,100 competitors. What was your training regimen like and when did you know, like, I'm going to really take this to the next level and start competing as a professional?
Well, when I started competitive Smash back in 2013, my goal from day one was I want to be the best Olimar in the world. Mm-hmm. Like back during Brawl, that was what I wanted, and kind of transfer over to Smash 4. So right from the get-go, it was always, I need to push myself to be the best I can be. Like, I never want to get complacent with, oh yeah, I made first at the club, or oh, I made second, or whatever. It's like, I need to find the way to, if I win, I want to win better. I remember early on in Smash 4, I would play like Wi-Fi practice with people, and I'd beat them, and then I would ask them for advice. Because it's like, I wanted to know how I could do it better. So I guess, when Brawl was around, there wasn't too many tournaments in Florida at that time, because the game was kind of on its way out. Mm-hmm. Smash 4 was around the corner, other things like that. And then when Smash 4 came out, it was a lot of like grinding all the time, playing 8 hours a day or more a lot, and then trying to drive, because I had my own car at the time, so I could drive around Florida, have my own discretion, and then trying to constantly hit up tournaments. And then I think a lot of Smash 4 for me, it was hard because flights are expensive and I didn't have the money to do it, but I always wanted to push myself to kind of like get out there more. I guess being a professional like Smash Bros. Player or any like esports career like that has kind of always been like a dream, because most people are like, oh yeah, I'd love to play games for a living. And it's really hard to do, mm-hmm. But, in certain ways you can kind of make it like a sustainable source. Like right now, like my main income is Smash Brothers. But I'd say like halfway through Smash 4, when I got, I was on the Panda War rankings. I was 39th on that one. That was a point where I was like, okay, I'm really making this work, and I had, a girlfriend at the time who really supported me, and my family who supported me and all that. And they were like really helping me get out there. But it's just like, making sure that I can attend as much as possible. Now that Ultimate's out, I'm like trying my best to literally be everywhere. Since I got picked up by Armada, that's even more so doable now. But for training stuff, it's like I'm actually really bad about that. I play the game a lot, but I do like here and there like video analysis of like my previous matches and things like that. I'll usually watch my losses and stuff, but I'm not as like, I guess, diligent in that regard as some people can be. I'm very focused on like, let me play the game and let me figure out what's going on there. So it's always like, I like to play people. I like to, like when I lose, I'm like, okay, we need to crack this code, so to speak, and really figure out what's going wrong. And that's always how I'm doing it. And then when I went into Genesis, I've had a rough beginning of the year. A lot of things have happened. Some life stuff has changed for me. And at first I wasn't even like confident in my ability to play or like my mindset. But as I kind of evaluated some things about myself and where I was in life, I was just like, okay, I think I'm ready to give it my 100 at Genesis. And I practiced, I did the best I could. I played online a lot because I live in a sub-region of Florida. so that I might not have the most like top players accessible to me in the like local vicinity. So it's a lot of online practice and refining my habits there. And just like when I went to Genesis, I was like, okay, I'm going to do a job essentially. Like, so I need to focus on that and just like putting everything I can into that and putting that practice into something tangible.
I got you. What, early on you said you played 8 hours a day, right? Like, did you ever have any like specific like practice regimens or, things that you would do, like exercises, like just working on specific moves or combos? Like,
early on, and so like I'm not big on like training mode, like going in there and like labbing stuff out. I'm more of like I want to get in, I want to get hands-on experience. Like if I think of a tech or if I think of some new strategy, I don't want to like go test it out in training, but I want to test it out against someone who's going to fight me back on it. But back during early Brawl, when I was really trying to elevate my gameplay, and the Wii and Brawls online wasn't very good. You weren't going to get super good connection on that. I remember I saw the Melee document they had, the Smash Brothers one, and some guy in that said he was like, "Oh, I wanted to get really good, so I'd go into like the game and I would practice like 50 short hop, air auto cancel aerials or 50 wave dashes or 50 like pieces of tech in a row, so you could get it consistently." And back during Brawl, because I didn't have online, I didn't have anyone to play with at the time, I actually would go into like the game in Brawl, and I would be like, okay, I want to do like 50 short hop, like turn around side beats, or 50 short hop, or like auto cancel up beats, or this. Just like refine my general tech. But during like Smash 4 and stuff, when online was much more accessible, it was like 8 hours of like playing, and I would find good players early on, and they'd want to play me, and I would kind of get nervous because I wasn't very known, or I wasn't as good back then, and I'd be like, okay, these good guys are taking the time out of their day to play me, so I need to give them something to I need to keep them wanting to play me. It was almost like a fear in a sense. It's like, if I'm not good enough, they're going to leave. Mm-hmm. So there wasn't so much like you have to do this, but it was like, I need to, during these 8 hours, put every fiber of my being into analyzing and figuring out what's happening in these games so that I can provide some form of like value to them to where they want to keep playing. And I think that helped me overall, because it was like that desperation kind of forced me to think about what I'm doing and really refine my strategies and understand how to look at the game better.
Love it. I love it, man. That's great. And so how did those matches go with those pros? Were you able to, or those better players? Was it the kind of thing that you were able to beat them, or did they end up beating you, but you were still giving them enough of a challenge that they were like, no, we want to keep you in the mix? It
started out me doing pretty good. I remember like there was a lot of players online I could play and I would beat or I would challenge. But I remember one example, DeBuzz, the player, he's really good. He actually played me on like 3DS Wi-Fi super early on in Smash 4, right? Mm-hmm. And I played him and he trashed me. And I was like, okay, we need to reevaluate how we're going about this. Because I was really, I was pretty good and I could give a lot of people on Wi-Fi like a run for their money. But he trashed me. And then I was like, okay, that's great, session over. And I would just sit there and rack my brain, what am I doing? And then I'd play him again and I get closer and then I get closer. And I remember one time I like took a game or a set off where it was like, oh yes, this is what I need. Like it was slowly like becoming a thing, and I could beat other really good players, but like I guess for him, he was that first instance of like, yes, you are showing that you're capable to stand toe to toe with these players. It might only be a Wi-Fi session or whatever, but you went from getting no games taken to now, trading games with. So I think early on, if I did lose to someone, they would see that like, yeah, he's but he's catching me with a lot of mix-ups. He plays in a very unorthodox way. Like I play Olimar, but I play aggressive. I like to be in your face, and people don't expect that. So I kind of keep them on their toes in that sense. So it was mixed. There were players who I would beat no problem, even though they were pretty good. There were players who would give me, we go back and forth. And there at the beginning, there were players who would like trash me. But it was always working towards that thing, and I think I did leave a good impression on a lot of players. I'm pretty good friends with the Buzz now. We talk about all of our stuff enough. We respect each other as players, I think. That's
really cool. Really cool. One of the things I'm curious about, and I'm sure a lot of the listeners will be curious about too, like, what is that like? What is your work-life balance like? Playing a game for 8 hours, on top of everything else that happens with life. Like, is it tough keeping it all balanced? And now you're mixing in content creation and stuff as well. And I know now it's probably a little bit easier with the sponsorship, things like that. But before that, what was that work-life balance like?
Yeah, it's definitely tough. And I know for the other content creators or like players who do a lot more than me, it's gonna be crazy. But I had like balancing, I guess, a relationship, with my girlfriend at the time in Smash 4 and all that stuff. That was very difficult. She played Smash, which made it a lot easier to kind of explain things. But at times it's like, do I go practice at the Smash Fest, or do I go do something with her, or or my family? Do I help my mother with things here and there and stuff like that. You had to make some, I guess, compromises, being like, do I go do this or do I help them with that? And it definitely wasn't easy. And I'm not going to lie and say I have the best time management or that I schedule stuff the best, but there were times where you had to be like, what, where do you draw the line on, I guess, playing the game and practicing, or going and spend time, growing that relationship with whether a friend, family, or someone close. So it's not easy, but I think I did an all right job at it. Usually, like, my sleep schedule is not the best. I'm usually a bit of a night owl at times, where I'll stay up, and that's usually when I try and hammer out content creation. When no one else was around, or they would be awake, and I was kind of alone, I could like kind of hammer that, force that stuff out. But during the day, it was a lot of either practicing or streaming, or going out and being with, girlfriend, or my friends, or whatever it was at the time, and trying to get that stuff done. But, the daytime was usually reserved for more standard, like, I guess, like, things that everyone does, with relationships and stuff like that. And then they were busy, or if they were doing something else, I would usually try and practice and things like that. I try to keep my schedule pretty flexible for that reason, so that I'm not like tied down to one specific thing. And I think that helps me kind of jump back and forth where I need to with different work and life stuff.
Got you. So let's talk about when you started winning some of these tournaments, and like what started going through your mind as like you start winning your locals, you start kind of making a name for yourself. Like, I mean, what was going through your mind?
It's weird. In Brawl, I was all right. I think my best win was getting like my best like placing this, tournament in like Tampa, and I beat like one of the Florida PR players. I was feeling pretty good. And then there was kind of that drop between Brawl and Smash 4. And Smash 4 came out, and I practiced a lot. And I went to my first Brawl, or my first Smash 4 tournament. It was on 3DS. Drove there. It was 5 hours away. And I got 9th. And I thought to myself, like, well, that's not right. I'm good enough to be getting past 9th. And especially the players I lost to, I felt like I wasn't, like, I shouldn't have lost them. Like, the first guy that beat me, I was like, oh, hey, do you want a money match later? And then I beat him in a money match. And then the player who beat me after that, I was like, wait, I should really him. He plays a character that I beat. So there was a lot of, like, reevaluating that. And then when the Wii U version came out, I'd already been grinding a lot of, like, Wi-Fi practice and things like that. Like I said, I live in a smaller region of Florida, and I went uncontested. Like, I didn't lose a tournament in my own region of Florida for a year during Smash 4's beginning. And I went around Florida, and I would win tournaments, or I would get top 3 in pretty much everything. And I think it was kind of surreal. Like, oh, I'm actually good at this game, like really good. And I always thought, like, I think pretty highly of myself, I guess, not to sound like egotistic or anything, but I think pretty highly of myself as like a player, and I know where my skill is and what I can do. So it wasn't like a total shock, but I was, I guess, more comfortable. Like, yes, this is why I play the game. If I play to win, this is what I'm aiming for. So it's kind of like falling in place for me. And I really do, I think it helped me, honestly, that I started winning more, because it, how frustrating it can be if you try and do something, you put in a lot of work, and then it ends up like not working out, or like you just can't produce the results that you bring in so much work for. It can be really discouraging. And I never had that, I guess, getting to the point where I got really good. But once I hit there, I was like, okay, yeah, I'm at a point where I know what I'm doing. Like, this is what I do. and it kind of just became very comfortable for me. And then what I would try and do is, now that I'm winning a lot or that I'm really good, I wanted to try and push that back out to other people. It's like, oh, you're bad, or you want to get good? Okay, let's do it. Ask me for advice. I still, even to this day, I'm still like, I have Olimar players or whatever message me all the time, and it's like, if I'm good, that's fine. That's what I wanted, right? That's my goal. Now let me help you get there. So it's like, I guess, like recycling in a sense.
I love it.
So that year of Smash 4 that you said you kind of went uncontested in your locals, did you venture out a lot to more national competitions then?
There wasn't a ton of I guess, like, there wasn't as many big tournaments back then for Smash 4. I was going around Florida all the time. Like, I went to it was during early on in Smash 4. It was during, I think, January. I went to Paragon, Orlando, which is like a smaller than a major, but like bigger than a regional, kind of that in the middle. And I got fifth, and I lost to Zaltis, a Peach Rose player at the time. Then I lost to Mewtwo King, and that was the first time I'd kind of ever been on that big stage, because they had like a stage, they had like a stream. And I remember I played Mewtwo King, and I like two-stocked in one game, and I was like feeling myself. I was like, oh, I just two-stocked Mewtwo King on stream. Okay, that's feeling pretty good. And then I had never experienced like having a big crowd like that behind me. And I didn't play with headphones at the time because I was kind of feeling out. And I remember the next game, they're like, two stock. And then I let it get to my head, and then he beat me. I was like, no! But I went there, and then I went to Apex 2015. That was the first time I'd ever been to a national, right? That was the big starting point for like Smash 4. That was where everyone was really there. And I went, and I lost to my two primary Wi-Fi training partners, which was DeBuzz, Dinty. Both hits were game 3 last hit. And I was so frustrated. I was like, so I went to this national, and I lost the two guys who I practiced with more than anyone, and the two guys who played Olimar and Brawl. So it's like, these guys were like the go-to, players to beat me. And then it made me feel a little bit better that DeBuzz went and got second. So I was like, okay, my loss isn't too bad.
Right.
But, I try to travel around when I can. I was pretty confined to Florida for early on in Smash 4 just because, like I said, travel's expensive. I live in a, not a smaller region, but not as popular one. So, like, I don't have, like, the luxury of flying out of, like, a popular airport, so flights are more expensive. And it wasn't till, like, later on in the years where I would be able to fly out to stuff like the Big House or, a 2GG event or other things like that. I always tried when I could. I think, like, 2017 was probably the year where I was really going, and that's when I did get, like, on the PGR. But early on, it was a lot of, like, Florida dominance, I guess, always driving around there and hitting up their locals whenever I could.
Let's. I want to transition real quick and kind of just get some like beginner tips and advice stuff. So we'll move into the next section here.
Okay.
So you were just mentioning like that recycling thing. You have a lot of people asking you for tips and advice and stuff like that. Like what are some things that you give to beginner players and things like that? What do you recommend people do?
I generally, if you're just like a general player, this is even like tied specifically to Olimar. I think the important thing is you have to put in a lot of work, obviously, into playing the game. That's the biggest thing. If you're trying to get good at anything, you need to do it. And I think a lot of people are oftentimes focused too much on the more external influences, like, oh, I need to read this online guide, or oh, I need to watch this video, or I need to do some abstract concept that in theory will help you, but you don't actually understand. And not enough players are like playing the game. So like, go play with your friends, play with whoever, play the game, but don't like mindlessly play for 14 hours, mashing the A button and losing track of time. Like, every game needs to be an equal investment. You're trying to, when you sit down to play a game, after that game or during the game, you need to be evaluating what's happening. And I know it's harder, for low-level players because they might not be as aware or mindful of what they're doing. But it's something you have to constantly practice. But yeah, it really is coming to like playing the game. I know a lot of players who, I talk to them and they'll be all right, but it's almost like they're like a carbon copy of a guide they read online. They'll try and like do just that, and I was talking to a friend yesterday about it on our way home from our tournament. I was like, yeah, there's this player, and it feels like I'm reading the guide for this character, and there's little creativity. They don't let themselves express themselves as players. And that's why I think it can sometimes be detrimental to watch a top player, because you try so hard to just copy them.
Interesting. I like hearing that, because I mean, a lot of times we recommend people go and watch, but I like what you're saying. Like, you still need to put your style into the mix.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not like I put out guides. I mean, I want people to watch. I want people to learn information, but knowing how to apply that information is the important part. Like, if I tell you to neutral air on shield because it's safe or whatever, that means, yeah, neutral air on shield, but you can't only do that. You know, you have to understand how to mix it up, how to add flavor to it, so it's not the same thing every time. So yeah, playing the game is the most important thing to getting good.
Well, and I like to, you know, like what you're saying about kind of evaluating as you play. Like, I will even audibly say, like, oh, I should have crossed that up. You know,
Yeah.
if I end up landing in front and like hitting my tornado on a shield, I know I'm getting punished. Like, I'm like, that has become one of my areas that I'm like, that has to stop. Like, that has become a bad habit of mine. And it's like,
Yeah.
I need to make sure that if I'm going to approach with that tornado, I have to cross up with it so that I am either can get out and not put myself in disadvantage. Right. And so, but that does, and it totally happens with time, you know, because because I know, like, when we had this, this was told to us early on. You know, we were playing with Peon from Beyond the Metagame, and he's like, you know, he's asking me like, why did you die right there? And I'm like, because you forward smashed me. But you know what I mean? Like that, because that's where I was at that time. Like, now I'm like, oh yeah, of course I can see this is where I made a mistake, or this is where this is a good opportunity for me to focus on, like, you know, this may be a move that somebody does regularly, not necessarily just that opponent, but multiple opponents, right? That's like, oh, this is something I really need to pick up on. You know, even something as basic, just to illustrate it, as basic as watching the way people, a lot of times people will roll right towards me when I'm at a perfect distance for a grab, you know, and probably 85% of the time I'm waiting for somebody to roll towards me. And like a lot of times that happens, and it's immediate, like 15 to 30% more damage, you know? And so, and that's a very simple illustration, obviously, but that's the kind of stuff, the more you play the game, like you're suggesting people do, just play, you're going to pick up on this stuff while you're playing. It is helpful, of course, to record your gameplay and look back on it and see, you know, you can definitely pick stuff apart and rewatch, but like do you remember, Myron, like when that kind of started happening for you? Like, you were like, oh, I'm totally like where you pick up on the fact that, like, oh yeah, I'm making this mistake, or I'm, you know, this is working, that kind of thing.
I think, I don't remember like exact one where it's like clicked, because I think everyone has that like, oh, it clicks moment. But I guess pinpointing would be a little bit difficult. I went, you know, back towards in 2014, you know, before Smash 4 came out, but when Brawl was on kind of its like last year, so to speak. I was going to college up in Jacksonville, Florida, right? Mm-hmm. And I was not a very good student, I'll say that, but I did play a lot of Smash. They had like a game room there at the college, you know, where they had like Wii's and PlayStations and all that stuff, and people could go and play. And, you know, I was down there every day playing Smash. Me and my friends were down there playing every Smash. So just a lot of grinding. And I think everyone learns passively, right? Like, you know, if we play, you know, 10 hours, if you're not consciously doing it, you'll subconsciously go, maybe I should have gone from the ledge after 10 hours of getting, you know, forward smash to the ledge. Mm-hmm. But like being able to kind of pick it up, I think, I picked up like subconscious habits, and I would get a bit better at stuff. Like when I was in Jacksonville College, they taught me how to DI because I was really bad at it. I remember I was playing and I was like, they'd up to me and I'm like, they're like, why are you dying? I was like, oh, I hold down because I want to go down. And they're like, that's not how you DI. and then they like beat it into me almost with their characters. And I was like, okay. And then now I really get DI. So the little things like that, I think the best example I could give, kind of going back to when I started Smash 4, was like that desperation to adapt to these players. It was like, I don't have a choice whether I adapt or not. I either adapt or I lose my credibility and I lose my ability to improve because I don't have the access to these players. So it's kind of, I guess if I had to pinpoint it to that, it would be like early Smash 4 3DS, early Wi-Fi days like that. It's like, there is no option. You're going to do it now. And I mean, I've always been fairly good at video games. Like, you know, I've always been better than, you know, the average person, I guess, whenever I play with others. So it was just doing that a lot. But one thing I do, what I do recommend for players, if they struggle to kind of figure out that mindfulness, like you said earlier, you'll land, cross someone up on accident, you're like, oh, I shouldn't have crossed that up, or I should have, or whatever. I encourage you to practice techniques that will assist you. If you need to say out loud, oh, I flubbed my roll there, oh, I didn't mean to do that, like, who cares what the other person's thinking? If it's a tournament, be respectful. If it's friendlies, do these things if you need to commit your habits to memory. If you need to improve your gameplay and you got to say, oh, I didn't mean to roll there, I shouldn't have rolled there, that's fine. If it's going to help you remember, that's the important thing. You're playing for yourself first and foremost. As long as you can do it in a respectful manner.
And I think you go to a local or anything, you'll almost see that even if it's not audible. Like you'll see the head shake. Like,
oh yeah.
I mean, that's almost everyone saying I did something I shouldn't have done there.
Yeah, oh no, I've done that. Catch me in grand finals of a tournament, they'll hit me with something. I'm like, you got me. I should not have done it. Like you gotta give your opponent the benefit. You gotta give them the credit when it's due. But yeah, like I've told people, write things down in a notebook if you do after the game or when you're playing friendlies. You need to stop, pause it, take it down. Don't be embarrassed or afraid to do certain tactics that will help you improve. That's the goal. That's why you play the game. Like fun, obviously, but improving is always a thing. If you're competing, you want to. So just do that. Don't be afraid to talk out loud. Don't be afraid to discuss with your opponent. Ask for advice. Be very specific when you ask too. Like I can't tell you how many people come up to me and they're like, "Hey, Myron, how do you deal with disadvantage, neutral, advantage combos against Fox?" And I'm like, "You want me to write you a book?" That's a lot of information, my dude. Could we, single that down to like one example, and I can try and help with that? So keep your questions specific, detailed, on topic, and you'll usually get a better answer than like asking for literally.
Could you just real quick write me the script for your next video?
Yeah. Just like, Myron, I see you're really good. Could you just tell me how to win my locals?
Yeah, it's called Years and Years of Trouble.
Yeah, I took a lot of losses earlier.
Right. Well, hey man, we want to be cognizant of your time here. So, where can people find you? Twitch, Twitter, that kind of stuff.
My Twitch, my Twitter, and my YouTube are all MyranSSB, MyranSSB. I stream semi-regularly, trying to get back into the swing of things, usually during the weekdays around like 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Is what I've been doing right now. I usually stream Smash. You'll find like high-level games on there, like with other good players. I'll occasionally do viewer battles. I've been trying to get back into that about it. And then I also do like VOD analysis from like big Twitch streams, where like I usually stick to Olimar because that's my expertise. But like of me, of the buzz, of Shuton, of other players, so you will come in there and you'll get like a lot of information. And I encourage people to come to my stream and be like, "Hey, Myron, how do I deal with this? How do you have advice for this?" Like I like it when people ask me information because if I know it, I want to share it. Mm-hmm. And then my Twitter, you can find updates on that. If you ever see me at a tournament, you want to come say, "Hey, I'm more than happy to talk with you." So you'll be able to find out what tournaments we go into there. And then my YouTube, I put out informational like videos like that. I have a guide up there for like a basic Olimar guide if you want to get into him. Like it'll give you some of the important stuff about that. And then I'm in the work with more content, and I put up my analysis and stuff on there.
Hey guys, he's super approachable. Like we were at pre-Genesis. We had our Switch set up, and he was just having I don't know if you were having a drink or some food or whatever. You were just standing next to me. I was like, "Hey man, what's going on?" And yeah. we kind of just hit it off, and and now here we are.
I might look menacing because my face does that, but I'm very nice.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. Crawler, where can people find you, bud?
You guys can find me hanging out in Josh's Discord, n64josh.com/Discord. And also sometimes on Twitter, sometimes on Twitch, Nightcrawler74, Nightcrawlers without the E. And catch me there.
Guys, you can follow me on Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, all the places. It's at N64Josh. I do want to let you guys know we just started our first 2 episodes of Smash School. That's going to be exclusive to YouTube because there's some gameplay mixed in and stuff there. We've done 2 episodes so far. It is really a beginner-focused series where and you can get involved if you're a beginner and you want to be able to have some gameplay analyzed or have some questions answered. Even if it's very basic stuff, like you're more than welcome to come hang out join us. I'm going to try to do at least a couple of them on the weekends, and they're just little 10-minute episodes. But so far we did our first episode. I mentioned it in the last podcast, but immediately Ken was like, "Hey, I just won my first match after doing Smash School. This is amazing," So like. It's a lot of fun, so come check that out. Make sure to follow Myran, guys, on all the places. We'll have links in the notes for you. The notes will be found at n64josh.com/SBC62. And if, again, you want to get yourself a free book from Audible, go to audibletrial.com/SBC. Get something awesome like Ready Player One. The chair I'm sitting in from OPC, go to n64josh.com/OPC. You automatically save $10 at checkout. Guys, if you can rate and review on iTunes, we greatly appreciate it, and we will see you in the next episode. Thank you so much. Bye now.